Hi, it's Pete Cann, the Laughter Man, and today's episode we've got Melanie Bloch. And me and Melanie started chatting really early on into my laughter journey, and it was really interesting to have an interview with Melanie. So this is going back through the archives, bringing this one up to the forefront. You will notice a difference with the yellow flag rather than the Laughter Man and the different background, basically. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's more, we go into like the holistic side of laughter and the benefits and the medicinal. Is laughter really the best medicine? Laughter is the best medicine, I believe. So I hope you enjoy this laughter yoga interview with Melanie Bloch, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on this interview, and let me know, if you've got anybody you think would be really, really good for me to interview. I would love to hear that as well, because I'm always looking for people to bring onto the podcast or to bring onto this YouTube channel. So anyway, have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of this episode, and I will talk to you very, very soon. So today I'm very honoured to have the lovely Melanie Bloch, who is a holistic laughter coach on the Joy and Laughter podcast. Hello, Melanie. How are you?
Hi, Pete. Lovely to be here.
Perfect. So, Melanie, we've sort of obviously met briefly in the past, not in person, but obviously online, as the world is at the moment. And I just felt the energy that I got from you was in the same sort of vein where I come from, really, and I thought it'd be really, really nice to sort of get you onto the podcast, just to have a little chat about laughter and how you discovered laughter would probably be the first question I'd like to find out.
Sure. Well, I'm a therapist, so over the last 25 years, I've studied many healing modalities. About 8 years ago, my mum was very, very ill with cancer, and I was her carer, and my son went off to university. And when she passed, I was in a very low, depleted place, and I couldn't even offer any of my therapies because, you can't give what you haven't got. And basically, I was on the floor. So after about 6 to 9 months of grieving, I felt something inside of me, it was like a kind of universal kick up the bum. And I remembered I'd attended a very short laughter session years before that, and I Googled laughter and just knew innately I needed to check it out. So I went along to a session, and in that kind of non-judgmental, loving space was so much play and connecting to that inner spirit, if you like, of the joy that was still inside of me, but I hadn't experienced for a very long time. It was such a wonderful release, and I literally straight away knew this is for me. So I went on and did the training, the leader training, and then the teacher training actually very, very quickly, and started sharing sessions from home because I knew I needed to laugh more. So really it was all about my healing, and then inviting some like-minded people who luckily, were also feeling the same. And that club has been going 7 years now, and I called it Wellbeing Through Laughter. I also had a kind of spiritual discipline, if you like, more than one in a sense, but coming from like inside out understanding and of course miracles. So I kind of used the spiritual underpinning, if you like, also to share the laughter from that place. And I think, your vibe does attract your tribe. So generally the people that do attend my sessions, although that's not to rule out people that aren't in the spiritual self-development field at all, but it does seem to be that they are more inclined to be interested in that kind of area, because that's my passion, and that's for me where it's at. For me it's all about the healing.
Perfect. And it's obviously, you mentioned that sort of 7 years ago is when you started the laughter journey, and I mean, was there sort of a moment in the early times where you realized actually this had helped you to cope with your loss?
Yeah, definitely. I remember on the teacher training, I knew it was just for me to do healing. I wasn't so much concerned with, oh, I'm going to be putting this out in the world and I'm going to be training others. At that point in time, it was I would go away and lie under a tree. It was the summer, luckily, and have a good old cry. And one of my favourite exercises, which we might be doing later, is cry laugh, because for me that was where it was at. I literally needed to grieve and I needed to cry, and the tears were streaming down my face, and at the same time, paradoxically, they would turn into laughter, because again, it's like that cosmic joke. It's like, can you take yourself less seriously? Okay, the situation may be serious, but if you can take yourself less seriously, lighten up, it opens up something and grace can come in, and then from that place something shifts.
Nice. And have you been back to that tree, just out of interest?
Well, that tree is at Feldon Lodge, where Lottie does the training, the teacher training. So, we do get opportunities to go back there, when we come together again. And it could be any tree, or it could be any space really that you just had maybe a quiet moment just to kind of know that you just had to release.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. And so how would you say like laughter's enhanced your life overall?
100% taking myself less seriously. I was quite, and still am, anxious ridden sort of individual. And through the laughter, I can release a lot of stress and tension and come to a deep silence within myself, because it clears out all the busy thinking and the self-judgment as well. And one of the things I share, when I run a session is, can we drop the busy thinking? Can we drop the judgment of ourselves? Because it was something I had to learn to do, and still have to learn to do. So, they do say that we share what we need to know, or we teach what we need to learn. And it's an ongoing process.
Perfect. So obviously over the years since you've been teaching and you've been running laughter sessions, there must be certain moments, certain people that you've laughed with that have approached you with some stories. Now, we don't have to obviously mention any names, but I would love to hear any times where, a couple maybe that stand out in your mind.
Sure. I remember very early on, actually, leading a session, and it was just before I was going to actually run my very first training. When I say my first training, as in teaching them to be leaders, and this lady came up to me, and I didn't know who was going to come to the training, because I'm not good at putting my publicity out there, and I'm not very good online, and this has been a huge challenge, as I was sharing with you before the interview. So in that sense, I didn't know who I was going to draw to me other than just a few Facebook posts. And she said to me after the session, "I've just remembered who I am." And she came on the training, and I had 4 people on that training, and it was literally because I needed somebody to come forward and say, "I want to do your training." And I just didn't know how that was going to happen. I'd been sort of running a year, sessions from home and things like that, and I didn't know when I was going to get the request. and when I got the request, yes, so that was the beginning, and that was really lovely. And also another story that stands out in my head is running a session from home, and all age groups come, and it was a more elderly lady, and at the beginning of the session she had been sitting, looking quite unhappy, to be honest. And by the end of the session she came up to me and she said, "I gave myself a fright because it'd been so long since I'd heard my laugh." And the other thing she said was, "I'm loving all these hugs because I am a body worker as well, so I am fairly tactile. Like, I do like the odd hug and things like that. And my sessions, again, tend to draw people that are quite happy to give hugs. But it's also fine if you don't want to, so I totally respect that. But there is an opportunity there for that kind of, the heartwarming kind of opening and, connection in that way." And she just said, "Yeah, I just love the hugs." So those 2 off the top of my head have stood out for me.
Nice. And it's so, I mean, again, I'm quite new into the laughter journey for myself, and the one thing that I find is quite a bit, well, it's definitely a blocker, is people just don't quite understand what laughter, how to do it, and what, I mean, how would you sort of encourage, or what would you say to somebody that was just a bit like, I don't get it, I don't understand what it's all about?
what I tend to say to people, it really is just breathing with a smile on your face. So maybe we could just do this together now, Pete, if it's all right with you. So I just say, just imagine you're just clearing your mind of the judgment, taking a nice deep breath, just let it out. And as you're softening your judgment of yourself, just with a little willingness now to surrender to that is innate within us, can you allow a gentle smile on your face? Now, all we're going to do is breathe. We're choosing gratitude, a great attitude. So take a nice deep breath in. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Let it out with a little willingness. And then I tend to tell people, you hear that little cough at the end. Allow that little cough, and particularly now with the coronavirus and all the fear around it, I've been doing an exercise where I tell them to cough into their hand all the fear and surrender it, hand it over, I don't want it, ha 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 ha, and talking about building resilience, because of course we know laughter is so good for the immune system. It boosts, the endorphins, it lowers the cortisol, all the things you already know. But maybe some of the listeners don't realize just how the endorphin effect of laughter and the medical research that has actually shown this is the case. So we can really build our resilience and our immune system by choosing to laugh. And even if we don't feel like laughing, the body doesn't know the difference between real laughter or fake. So we get all these psychological shifts anyway. And it is that case of when I sit up, I feel a little bit stronger. If I'm like this, I feel diminished. But if I allow myself to open up, and with the heart opening laughter as well, we're really opening up and we're saying yes to life. So it ties into what I call second wave positive psychology, which isn't about trying to pretend everything's okay. It's actually about allowing it all. So we're acknowledging, the fear thoughts, the anger, the shadow side of our personality, and we're being with it. And at the same time, we're also choosing again. So we may need to be with that. We may need to cry first, and then we can laugh or express in gibberish, which is one of the things we use in laughter yoga, which I call Zen language. So it's the language that doesn't make any sense, but makes every sense, because we're expressing this stream of consciousness that needs to be let out. And when we let it out, then again, we allow in that energy for something new. So, yeah, so that's kind of my take on it.
Nice. A couple of sort of curveball questions, I suppose. Now, so when again I first reached out to you, and we were sort of chatting over Facebook, and you mentioned EFT.
Yes.
And do you want to just explain a little bit about EFT? Because obviously I know a bit about it, but it'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is an energy system that rebalances the body. So if you've got a fear thought, you might want to tap like one point on your finger, and that actually is the meridian that actually supports that system. So you're resetting your meridians by tapping on certain points. There's the side of the hand as well, which actually, again, it's aligned to when a battery is upside down, nothing works. So by tapping the side of the wrist, you're actually resetting your battery. And there's quite a few different simple things. I can show you something else, which is a head squeeze. If you put, I don't know if you can with the headset you've got on, but yeah, your hand on the back of your head and the other hand on your forehead. You breathe in, squeeze together as you breathe out, and just go, and release your hands. Breathe in and squeeze together as you breathe out. And the anger point is by the side of your eye. So if you were feeling, or I was feeling a bit angry at some point about something, a trigger maybe, I could actually tap that point. And under your nose is embarrassment. So I could tap that point because I might feel a little bit uncomfortable and embarrassed. And here is actually for strength and energy. And the thymus point, we actually use this in laughter a lot. We can tap this, and ha, ha, ha. And of course, we're strengthening ourselves as we do that. So everything is interlinked. So yeah, I trained actually in thoughtful therapy, which is very similar to EFT. And again, we can use affirmations. And it's also, the affirmations are acknowledging, I may feel really low right now, or I may feel really angry right now, but I honour the truth of who I truly am. And I choose to release what's getting in the way of that knowing. So again, depending on the situation, I call it a situation. Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's allowed on the podcast. The situation, you can actually use all sorts of interventions, and laughter or EFT is one.
Perfect. And so you mentioned gratitude. You've mentioned it a couple of times actually. And do you have a daily sort of gratitude practice at all, or do you have a?
I think that for me, like I've mentioned, the Course of Miracles. Now, the Course of Miracles is it's a spiritual, psychological, philosophical text, and basically there's exercises every day that are basically saying, get your ego out of the way, focus on love, because that's what you are. When you realize, when you use your real eyes to see, you can see the beauty in everything. So I guess that is my gratitude practice. And there are times, believe me, when I'm not in that space, but very quickly I can recognize it. I might need to do a little bit of, hang on, what is this trigger about? Something's happened here. I'm feeling resentful. I'm feeling angry or whatever. And then it's that kind of, call it inner work, self-development, spiritual inner work, where you recognize what the root cause is. And then by recognizing it, by giving it a bit of a voice, without needing maybe to spend too much time wallowing in it either, you can very quickly snap yourself out. And again, it is that, okay, this happened a long time ago. So laughter is great for that, because we can't be thinking of yesterday or worried about tomorrow. So if I have a good old cry laugh, I usually clear my mind sufficiently, and then some insight will drop in. And then from that place, I may need to speak to somebody. I may need to stand up for myself a little bit, but it's not from a triggered place. It's from a rational, clear, honouring something within myself that maybe I've not done before.
Nice. It's interesting you say that, because what I find with laughter when I do my morning routine is I become really creative after I've done a session. So obviously you must open something that all of a sudden things flow and ideas just start coming, and that's sort of where I suppose I've used laughter for me to keep me into a nice flow state. Really, it's yeah. So do you have any other daily sort of routines, practices?
I think honestly, the Course of Miracles for me really is where it's at the moment. And I obviously, in terms of my laughter regime, I have my laughter exercises that I might use. But for me, it is aligning my thoughts with something that's bigger than little Mel, who's wallowing in whatever problem or fear or concern she has. It is literally handing that over and saying, show me something different. And then I can go about my day, and I can be more open, and I can be more available to even sharing a smile with someone. Okay, social distance at the moment, but if I'm in a better place, I can be there. Exactly, I can be the one that is available to smile, because I'm not all caught up in my fear. And I really noticed that at the beginning of this period of time. I'm staying with my partner now at the moment, just for this period of time in Ramsgate, and people, had the masks on and they were avoiding the gaze, but we had the beach. So I've been very blessed and lucky, because I've been able to have a walk on the beach, and I'm sure that's made a huge difference for me. But it was that, this is very odd, can't even see people's smiles. So I changed the smile poem, smiling is infectious, you catch it like the flu. I changed it and I added in, but not the coronavirus, no, it's smiling from the eyes. It isn't new. So I changed the whole poem and sort of, just jigged it about a little bit, so that literally to say, we can still smile with our eyes. You can still extend some warmth and kindness. And I actually got a message from a midwife who'd attended one of my online Zoom sessions recently, saying we were delivering a baby. It was a couple of days after the session, and she told the team about, we can still smile from her eyes, and she said we did, and it was just really lovely. So I thought that was really nice, because you don't know, you could say one thing and you don't think it's really too much or anything, but the ripple of effect of that can actually help and support. So that kind of phrase where they say peace starts with you,
Mm.
You know, it's so true. We can only ever change ourselves. We can't change anybody else on the outside. We can only deal with what's coming up for us if we're triggered, sort it out, and then be available again. So that's really, yeah, for me, where, you know, it's a daily practice and it is ongoing. It's every day.
Perfect. And what would be really good actually is if you can let me know a bit more about where people can find that, if people are listening and going, actually that sounds exactly what I would love to get more of in my life. I'm pretty intrigued, to be fair. So that'd be good. So I've got a couple of other things. So like looking over the website, and there was definitely a session you did at Radio 1, and I'm just quite interested to see, you know, how that went. It looked pretty fun. A quick interlude for you. I hope you're enjoying today's interview and getting lots of knowledge when it comes to laughter and laughter yoga. Now, if you want to find out more about how laughter can benefit your life, why not subscribe to my channel below and press that little notification bell and get a notification anytime a new video comes out. Now, on with the interview.
Yes, yeah, it was fun. It was interesting because you never quite know whether they're on your side or not. Have you come across that, Pete, when you've done interviews and stuff? It's almost like because they don't fully get it, it's like, you know, you talk about that curveball kind of thing. You can get thrown a curveball. And I was aware when I was doing that session at one point that he was trying to undermine me. He was, because again, maybe I come over, I am a bit soft and a bit whatever. And so I do, but at the end of the day, bottom line, even though I am a bit soft, I actually really know where it's at as well. So I really kept my focus. And I just kept on. And I did the whole ego relaxation. Come on, find a way to laugh at yourself, because that is so important. That's everything. If we can take ourselves less seriously. So there was a turn, I believe there was a turnaround, because he started to get on board with me. And when I did the cry laugh exercise as well, he wanted to watch me. And I said, well, and I didn't do this deliberately. It really came out of that no thing state, you know, where you feel there's an energy coming through you. I said, well, it's not a spectator sport, because I wouldn't say things like that, because I didn't say it nastily, but when I heard it back later, I thought, oh, that was quite strong. You know, yeah, it's not a spectator sport, you have to join in. So after 3, do it with me, 1, 2, 3, and we did it. And yeah, and by the end, he was saying people were kind of sending in comments saying, you know, they were laughing and it was all good and it was quite a revelation. So it seemed to me that it had gone well.
Nice.
But I mean, again, it's that, and I am fairly, like, obviously I want things, as we all do, we want people to understand, we want people to benefit from it as well. But if they don't, they don't. What can we do? Just with the best will in the world, share what we know. I know it helped me. I know it's helped a lot of others. And that's it. We can't, you know, if it's not for somebody, it's not for them. And just, I've lovingly accept that now, I really do. And I don't try and push it on anyone. You know, I share what I know and then hope that something has helped.
Yeah, that's nice to know. And it's that's something that I suppose I'm slowly getting coming to terms with, is that actually it isn't for everyone. And it's, yeah, although I do believe everyone should be able to laugh for no reason at all. But it's sort of, I suppose that's why I'm hoping that this podcast is going to really help, basically, to just, people can be listening to this now, whatever they're doing. They may be in their car, they may be running, they may be just doing a bit of cooking. And I think this would be quite a nice time now to maybe do a couple of laughing exercises. We'll possibly do your two favorite. I know we did a cheeky one earlier, but we'll do a 2 now, and then if you're at home, or like say in the car, just be a bit careful if you are driving, because, you know, like, just be aware that if you start getting the giggles, it's probably not the safest thing to be doing is driving. So Mel, I'll put it back to you.
Sure. So maybe to begin with, we will clear out some of the toxic thinking, the stressy thoughts with the mental floss. So the mental floss is literally, instead of flossing our teeth, we're just going to be releasing some of the rubbish. Now, we might use a little bit gibberish at the same time. Now, earlier on, I talked about gibberish. And just imagine it's like babies babbling, or, you know, it's the minions. So it's like that stream of consciousness. So any busy thoughts, just go. Imagine you're pulling it out of your brain as well. So use your playful imagination to bursting and a flicking and bursting and then I like to sometimes imagine the toilet beside me, because let's face it, we really don't need that. So I like to throw the toxic thinking into the toilet and just literally go blibbing and sticking a blick in it, and then let's flush it, because you know what, we don't want it anymore. It served its purpose. And now it's thank you very much and goodbye. So after 3, 1, 2, 3, ha ha ha. And then it's nice to breathe. So maybe we should just take in a nice breath. We can stretch as long as we're not driving. Take a nice stretch up. And just giggle on down with that. And as we were talking, it's really important to allow all the emotions. So it's not just about finding a way to laugh and pretending that there isn't some stuff going on. It's about allowing it all. So for me, Cry Laugh can really support and help that. So I always describe it as, imagine a little toddler. So we do it in a playful way, but you can do it for real. If you're in a safe space, you can really just allow it to be proper crying, which breaks into proper laughing. But for now, we just do it as play. That toddler, it needs to rage. It needs to go, wow, wow, wow. Paradoxically, it turns into a laugh, because I think we do take ourselves less seriously when we release all that rubbish. You know, we can point ourselves and go ha 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 ha. It is the cosmic joke. So we do that one more time, and then if it turns into a laugh, let it be a laugh. But if it wants to be a cry all the way through, that's great. So no judgment. Again, it's dropping the judgment of yourself. And when you stop judging yourself, you can stop judging others. And when you stop judging others and yourself, there's so much space, and laughter can really support and help with that. So let's take a nice deep breath in and rage. We could laugh together all day. I mean, that's the thing about when the laughter professionals all come together, because that is, you know, we're used to it. So for us, it's really normal. You know, for us, it's like, it's, you know, for other people that maybe haven't done it before, they think it's a little bit strange. But I just say, you know what, anything can be out of your comfort zone. But once you actually allow yourself to step into something, it becomes normal. And I think for you and I, it's our new normal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And I did find, bearing in mind when I shared earlier at the beginning about how I needed to smile, I needed to find my laugh again. It is like a muscle. And when you use any muscle, it becomes stronger. So I found that through the laughter practice, that my sense of humor improved too, because before that I just didn't feel like laughing, so I didn't find anything humorous either. So literally you open yourself up to all the joy and the beauty and the lightness, and yeah, it is a practice, and you can use it as a spiritual practice as well. If you know, if you're into, you know, I'm using the word spiritual, but everything's spiritual, mind, body, spirit. I mean, that's what we are. We can't deny the truth of who we truly are. And I think in times of crisis like this, we really do see even more, you know, the acts of kindness, the acts that really show common humanity that bring us together. You know, the people singing from the balcony in Italy, and obviously the NHS being at the forefront, holding it all with love. And all these beautiful human qualities that we have. I mean, what's more, you use the word spiritual, but human than that.
Definitely. Well, Mel, I also asked my guests to run a little meditation at the end, and again, it was something like, my first initial thought was like, that'd be really nice, but then the other thought was like, actually, if you are driving right now, or if you're running, or anything that maybe you don't want to be in a more relaxed state, heavy machinery, something like that, maybe a meditation right now is not the best thing. So, but I am going to encourage Mel to maybe run like a minute of relaxation. That'd be really nice. But again, this is just if you're driving, turn the volume down.
Brilliant, lovely. Thank you, P. So yeah, just wherever you are, if you are in a safe space where you can relax for, a minute or two, take a nice deep breath in and a sigh, and allow a deeper peace that is available to you to come in after we release stress and tension through the catharsis of laughter and maybe tears as well. We can connect to a silence beneath the busy thinking that is always there, just like the pulse, as soon as we put our attention on it. And it is having that little willingness as well, just to be open to receive, not judging it, not thinking it needs to be different. So whatever is with you now, just allow it all. The shoulders relaxing a little bit more. The muscles in the body unwinding, relaxing just a little bit more. Noticing the breath coming in and the breath releasing. And with this gentle inner smile now, perhaps, which is like your own medicine cabinet, even 10 to 15 seconds of smiling in the morning, even if you don't feel like it, actually does something to the brain. How amazing are we? So just honoring yourself and the truth of who you truly are, not just this physical body. This physical vehicle does an amazing job, but connecting to that is eternal and changeless. Surrendering to that makes the grass green and the sky blue. Surrendering all conceptual thinking to that is bigger than our own thinking. Resting in this place, allowing new breath to come in that is loving and supportive, and releasing anything that would get in the way of that on the out breath. The new breath that comes is filled with light energy that is nourishing every cell, every tissue, supporting you in exactly the right way for you. We are all individuals, and yet we are all the same. And as you connect to that space, that I am present, just allowing now maybe a word that is supportive and helpful, empowering for you. And Pete and I are going to do this together, although Pete didn't know he was going to do this. But after 3, we're going to say, I am, and we're going to say something that's nourishing to our own unique self, and we'll say it out loud. So something nourishing that comes into your mind. I'll count 3. 1, 2, 3. I
I
am
am
peace.
joyful.
Beautiful. We'll do that 2 more times. A different word, or maybe the same, whatever's right for you. After 3. 1, 2, 3. I
I am
am
thankful.
beautiful. And just one more. After 3. 1, 2, 3. I
I am
am joy.
powerful.
Let's take a nice deep breath in. Breathe it all in and sigh. And allow the body language now to reflect that you truly are, and that you have said out loud. Wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes, and just allowing your eyes to maybe just open a little bit, just a little bit. And me and Peter are looking at each other, so we can give each other a shy smile, because we might feel a bit shy now, because we've revealed something. And we can look at each other, we can come close to it, and we can look into each other's eyes, and we can just show each other's beautiful smile and just go, we can give each other an elbow bump. We can't shake hands at the moment, and we can't high five. Should we elbow bump again?
There you go. Lovely. That was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, amazing. Thank you. From here, perfect. It's been lovely. It's been lovely.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's just been. I think it's like, it's just gonna be really nice. Yeah, just to meet, like, just to get to know people like at a deeper level, and it's yeah. So what 3 things bring you joy, Mel?
Well, I wanted to say, let's go like this. And I think it is a hug, I'll be honest with you. So if we'll give each other, I'm saying we'll give our own selves a hug, but at the same time, I can feel that hug. Can you, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to open up my arms to you, and we're just going to have a beautiful hug. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. I mean, it's joyful, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
For me, it is. It brings me joy, and I can feel connected to people, in a very innocent, loving way, just like a little baby. I think a little baby's laugh brings me joy as well. You see a little baby, and it is just the most beautiful sound in the world. And I think that is what we connect to, when we really allow the ego to fall away, and we recognize maybe, what, that doesn't actually matter. That's not really what's important here, and stay focused on that, and just enjoy, the medicine cabinet that we are. We can come back to vitality, and not only vitality, but that peace of mind. And I think that's the third thing. I just want peace. I want peace beyond anything else. And I don't mean the kind of peace where I've literally given myself away because I've been worried about an argument. I don't mean that. I mean, standing in my power, doing what I have to do, if that is what needs to be done, but also not getting into unnecessary arguments when it's rubbish, or it's an old pattern of behaviour, which I really don't need, and I know better now. Mm-hmm. And then I can come back to a sense of peace with myself. And for me, truly, that is the thing above all else that gives me joy. No thought, resting in peace.
Perfect. Thank you. So, Melanie, if anybody would like to reach out to you, what medium is best, would you say?
Well, I've got a Facebook page, Holistic Laughter Coach, and my website is www.melaniebloch.co.uk. So the Bloch is spelled B-L-O-C-H. And send me a message if there's anything you feel you would like to talk about or laugh about.
That's fantastic, and I'll put all that in the show notes so people will be able to find that. And like Mel, I'm going to call you Mel because it's easier for me, and I feel like we said at the beginning, it was Melanie or Mel to friend. So hopefully, I feel that I've crossed that.
I feel like I've known you for a long time, Pete. I feel a soul connection with you.
It's there, isn't it? It's there. So yeah, I mean, just like you said, if somebody wants to reach out to you, then I know that you're there completely to speak to people, which is beautiful, and I love that. So amazing, and that basically wraps it up.
Lovely. Well, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate talking to you too. I think you're great.
Cool.